Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Donna, and if this is your first time visiting, welcome. Every Thursday, I upload new content that brings inspiration, motivation, revelation, and restoration to individuals and families. Now, if that's something that interests you, please click the subscribe button so every time I upload a new video, you can be notified. Now, today we will be talking about tough women in my Tough Families series. Now, what that word describes, first of all, it is my acronym for my Tough Families series, TUFF. But that word is an actual geological word, which means tough. And what tough is a rock-like substance that's formed after a volcano erupts. And the magma, the heat, the ash, the debris flies out of that volcano and hits the ground. It melts into something called tuff. Now, there's all kinds of tuff. I even showed some pictures of tuff. So go back to my part 1 of Tough Family series, and you will see some examples of tuff. But if you visited Hawaii and you've gone to Diamond Head or you live there, Diamond Head is considered a tuff. And also the Easter Islands. There are, out in the Eastern Pacific Ocean, there's head sculptures that are huge. Oh my God, they're so huge. In fact, just the heads are out of the ground. They found out not too long ago. Underneath the ground is the actual bodies of these heads, these giant heads. That's also tough. And like the sculptures and like Diamond Head, there are many different shapes, many different sizes, many different textures, and some are soft, some are hard tough. Just like our family, some are hard, some are soft, some are big, some are small. It's just the way God made us, individual and different. And so that is what we're talking about. We are talking about tough women, okay? Strong women. How do we become strong women? Well, my first letter, which I will describe today, is T in our TUFF Tough Women series. The T for Tough Women stands for talk to other women you trust, okay? And I'm talking woman to woman here. I will have, in about 5 weeks, I will have Tough Men series and then Tough Grandparents. And this thing will just keep going on. Tough health and things like that eventually. But I wanted to go ahead and talk about tough women today first. The most, I would say, important piece in my Tough Family series, talking, is probably the most important. I like what motivational speaker, author, and life coach Tony Gaskins said. He said, communication to a relationship is like oxygen to life. Without it, it dies. I agree with him 100%. That is how important talking to one another is. I want to tell you about a sweet little lady that my husband and I met. Her name was Grace. And when we were living in Shore Acres in St. Petersburg, Florida, we found a beautiful silky gray, beautiful Scottish Terrier. They're worth a lot of money. Well, we rescued, or we picked it up because we knew it was lost and we knew somebody owned that dog. This dog, called Dakota, later we would find out, spent the night with us. And then the next day we found flyers all over the telephone poles. So we called the lady, and her name was Grace, and that was her dog, and that was the beginning of our relationship. Now, I had no idea that Grace had never been married, never had children, didn't have any family, and she was 80 years old. She did not look 80. She did not act 80. She was vibrant. She was sharp as a nail. She was full of energy, and she loved working at the Greyhound racetrack, taking care of the greyhounds. And she had such a beautiful heart, just a beautiful woman. But let me tell you the story of what happened. So when we moved, my husband and I moved back to Illinois. We kept in touch with Grace over the years, and we were like family to her. In fact, we kind of were her only family. And she talked to me all the time. She called me all the time. I called her a lot. And then my husband took a job driving a big rig across the United States, and I decided I would go with him. And I had no idea the paperwork involved in driving a big rig and traveling across the USA. And so I would do his paperwork, and I was so exhausted. Before I knew it, months had gone by, and I had not heard from Grace. And so I called the fire department, as I had done before when I couldn't reach Grace after several attempts. I had called the fire department a few times just to make sure that they could do a wellness check on her. She was fine, but this one time that I called, she was not fine. Evidently, she had gotten hit by a motorcycle while standing at the bus stop, and she nearly lost her life. And so while she was getting rehabbed or in physical therapy and in the rehabilitation center that they had her in, this center was also so one side was rehabilitation, the other side was nursing home. But I didn't know that. I thought Grace was strictly in a rehabilitation center. So when I called one day and a guy answered her cell phone, I was shocked. And he said that he had her cell phone and that he worked there. And so I wanted to know why I wasn't getting in touch with Grace and why she hadn't been in touch with me. It was because they took her cell phone. Why they took her cell phone till today, I do not know. But they took her cell phone, and so she wasn't able to contact me. So I started calling the phone there, and we would communicate that way on the phone, their rehabilitation center. Then one day I called, and Grace was not there anymore. They had moved her to another nursing home. And let me tell you, they wouldn't give me information, even though Grace gave me power of attorney. We couldn't find the paperwork, and she insisted on communicating with me. And so because we couldn't find the power of attorney, they would not tell me where Grace was located. And so I began my journey finding her, and I finally found Grace. So she had been rehabilitated, but I didn't understand why they moved her to another nursing home instead of to her 4-bedroom, 2-bath, beautiful home in Shore Acres in St. Petersburg, Florida. She had lived in that home for 30 plus years and loved it. And so I could not understand why they moved her to another nursing home. And so anyway, I found her. I found Grace just by calling around different nursing homes in different cities. And I finally found her. She was not in St. Petersburg anymore. She was in another city altogether in Florida. And so I finally found her, and we started to talk, and she started telling me things that were going on there. And I started getting very concerned. Some of the things was they were hitting her, she said. When I say they, evidently some of the workers were hitting her. She had been knocked down. She fell. She got a gash in her leg. And anyway, I told my husband and I need to go visit Grace. So we did. We took our vacation, and we went to Florida, and we went to see for ourselves. And sure enough, when we got there, the cafeteria worker said, "That's her." I could not believe my eyes. This beautiful, vibrant, bubbly, sharp, smart, outgoing person was sitting in a wheelchair, slumped over, skin and bones, just talking, mumbling to herself. And we spent the weekend with Grace, and they had not given her her eyeglasses, so she couldn't see, but she knew who we were. She knew who we were. In fact, she cried, and we cried. And anyway, just to see her that way was horrifying. And by the way, I begged her to come move with us. After she was done with her rehabilitation, I wanted her to move here and come to Illinois so we could watch over her, because we, just the fact that somebody else answered her phone and they took her phone away, I was just really worried about her, but she wouldn't move. I mean, why would she move from Florida to Illinois? I understand that. But she wouldn't move at that time. And by the time she was ready for us to take her out of there, it was too late. They wouldn't let me. She had a guardian, and the guardian would not let us take Grace and bring her back here to put her in a good nursing home where it was right down the street. In fact, I went and interviewed one of the nursing homes, and it was just all set up. It was just all set up, and they just wouldn't let her come. So anyway, the reason I'm bringing this up is because Grace had no visitors. She had no one to talk to. So she mumbled to herself. And that is the importance of us having communication with each other, especially with women. We must talk to each other. If you know anyone, any elderly parent or grandparent, communicate with them on a regular basis and make sure they're okay. If you're in the same vicinity, visit them on a regular basis. I mean, she had no one. And so she just mumbled, and her life, just like this quote says, communication to a relationship is like oxygen to life. Without it, it dies. And so I wanted to bring that up today. I wanted to bring Grace up and tell you the story about her so that you could see, as women and families, in my Tough Family series, the first letter says talk to one another. Very important. But I want to encourage you to call someone, talk to somebody. I mean, I can't tell you what a blessing it is to have a sister and a mom I can talk to. And even my daughters and family members that I can bounce things off of. Our souls get blessed when we talk to one another. Find a friend, a woman that you might be thinking about right now. Maybe call a friend and say hello. See how she's doing. A grandparent, a parent, just keeping in touch with them. And I think that's so important. By the way, I'm not a doctor, a pastor, or a psychologist, but I encourage you to speak to a therapist, family therapist, or counselor if you feel that you need to and you have nobody to talk to, okay? By the way, sadly, we came back home, and of course, we kept in touch with Grace. And one day I called, and they had taken her to a hospital. Again, I could not find her. I had to search. She was not in the local hospital. She had gotten hurt. It got infected. And so they took her to the hospital, where they ended up putting her on hospice, where she ended up passing away. And I did not find this out for a little bit because I couldn't find her. And when I found out, my heart was broken, and my husband's heart was broken, that we couldn't help Grace. But she is in a better place. She is with the Lord. And all of her sorrows, all of her crying, all of her loneliness, she's no longer lonely. But while we're still here and we have breath in us, talk to each other. Women, talk to women. Talk to family members. Talk to your elderly parents or grandparents. Keep in touch with them. And I want to thank you for visiting with me today. I look forward to next week, and I really enjoy doing this, and I'm so happy that you come and visit. Please comment. Let me know that you're there. Let me know if you have an experience with a family member or a female to female, how they've blessed you in your life too. And let's communicate with each other. Let's talk to each other. And until next time, God bless you. God give you strength and courage to speak the truth in love. And I will see you here next week. Take care. Bye-bye.